And he said, you know, Steve, I bet you put your heart and soul into this. And I said, you know, I did. And then I thought, I have a soul, I have a heart. I know where I'm going when I die. Artie doesn't. That's very sad, but it's also very scary. About, probably 2 weeks ago, Andrew came to me and said, you know, Steve, I've got a very interesting proposition, something totally different from what we've been doing. So take it away, Andrew.
So the idea was to have Steve versus an artificial intelligence, have an AI create a watercolor painting, paint this watercolor painting, and then have Steve paint the exact same one, or at least using the same prompt, the same description of this watercolor painting, and then have, once he completes it, to compare the two, to see what the artificial intelligence did, see what Steve does, and obviously Steve's gonna win.
This is scary.
But we're gonna see how each one did and see what conclusions we can draw. And I got the prompt of what the painting is supposed to be like. So this is what I fed to the AI, and the AI spit out this painting. And then Steve also, I read this to Steve, and he painted a painting based off this description.
Trust me, I didn't spit it out. I worked on this painting. I'm a little worried, you know, here I'm up against artificial intelligence. I've named him Artie. So it's me and Artie, and we're gonna see who, you're gonna be the judge. So the parameters are
a watercolor painting of a mountain landscape at dawn. Majestic mountains with their peaks bathed in warm hues of the rising sun, casting long shadows over the valleys and reflecting in a calm lake below.
So, give me a break. That's right out of the gate. That's scary for me because putting all those things together. I've never competed. I've competed in sports. I compete with my wife. Let's say gin rummy. She always wins. So I've competed, but I've never competed watercolor against watercolor, artist against Artie. So we'll see.
Was it a bit of a tall order, Steve?
Yes, it was. So here we go. All right, here we go. As mentioned before, I'm up against AI. AI is going to be painting a painting, and his name for short is Artie. So it's me against Artie. Look at all this white paper. This is what's intimidating. You got to start somewhere, as they say. The longest journey begins with a single step. So we're going to start with the mountain. We're going to have a sunrise. I'm going to have the sunrise, the sun over right there. So let me get a good brush here. We're going to just put a little wash here of orange. This is snow. So just real light. And the sun's going to be here, so we'll just kind of lighten that up down there. Okay, that's a start. We're going to let it dry, and then I'm going to make the snow pop on the mountain. All right, I'm using a mixture of burnt sienna and ultramarine blue to get it dark. So we're working on the mountain. Kind of looks funky now, but shadows over here. The sun will be here, so just using a little pointed brush and dropping in some darks to create rocks. All right, I got carried away. I've been dropping in some foreground. The lake is going to be right here, and getting some granulation. You lay down some paint rather dark, and then you drop put a drop of water in. And let me do this real easy here. Here we go. So we're getting some granulation there, marrying the foreground in with the mountain. I'm just kind of doing squiggly lines and in my mind bringing the rock down. So this, of course, this white is the snow here. So I'm bringing the rock down like so. And I just do that over and over and walk it across the mountain. Okay, we're dropping in some color. And as I mentioned, I use a spray bottle. And the spray bottle gives you all this look. You could not paint this. You could not do this just with a brush and watercolor. The spray bottle wet into dry spots makes these little sky clouds, I guess you'd call them. So I'm setting the mood purple here, and we're going to have sunrise over here. And I know I did this off camera, but I had to twist the board all over the place to get everything to run. It would have driven you crazy. So next we'll put in the sun. Here's the finished product for the sky. Dropped in little orange, and I used masking fluid to make this white circle so that when everything's dried, I peeled off the masking fluid, and that gives you the sun, the look of the sun coming up. So there's the sky, and next, what are we going to do? I guess I'll put in some greenery over here. All right, I didn't like this straight line coming across here, so I dropped in a little, bring the foreground a little bit closer. And I might do a little bit more here. Let me just show you that. So that's kind of cool. Now, I started painting, and I should have had the camera on. So I started dropping in some green here. And we'll just keep on going here. Drop in a little orange. And let's see. A little bit of brown. I don't like that all that much. And we'll just put a couple dots here for, let's see. All right, let's see how that looks. A little dark, but it's got to be dark because this is just a sunrise. So, all right, dropping in a few leaves here, and I'm just got a palette of greens, browns, oranges, and we'll just, in fact, let's put in just a little bit of orange. Okay, so you get the idea. All right, we're going to be working on the rocks again. Now what happened, remember when I started with this mountain, the horizon line was up here. It was straight across. So that was boring, so I dropped in some little hills and mini mountains coming down here. That kind of lowered the horizon line, so I'm going to lower these rocks. It didn't look right with the rocks up here. So that's what we're going to do. I'll be back. All right, as I mentioned, I lowered the horizon line by putting these little hills in, and so I lowered the rock level. And I'm looking at this, and this is a heck of a lot of rocks. So I was going to put rocks all the way around. I'm going to do a gravelly beach. I'm going to spray some masking, or put some masking fluid in here, and spray it on here and make little pebbles kind of like this, and bring the beach down. This will break it up. If I did rocks all the way around, that would just slap you in the face. So here we go. All right, I splattered in lots of masking fluid. There's little dots of masking fluid, and I'm trying to get this effect and make this look like a gravelly beach. So I've got my hair dryer ready, and what am I using here? I'm using burnt sienna, ultramarine blue, and we're going to lay in water, and we're going to kind of define where the beach is. Yeah, that looks good. Make it a little darker right here, kind of a shadow. Okay, let's see what we got here. Let's blot a little bit. Okay, oops. Trick is to get a bloom here, or get some definition amongst the rocks. All right. Let's take a look at this. I laid some grass in, wanted this kind of dark on this side to make this pop right here. So I guess I'll make these some rocks, and here's what the gravelly beach looks like. Like I said, if I did rocks all the way around it, it'd be pretty intense. Now, what I did, like I said, there's no rules in art, and especially in watercolor. What I did, I highlighted these rocks with a pencil. If I used an ink pen, that would make it too bright. So when you look at this, you're not even going to be able to know that it was pencil. I worked for a railroad for 30 years, and I did a lot of railroad painting, steam engines, locomotives, stuff like that. And this was a technique I learned. We call it chat. That's the stone that runs along the tracks. So I developed this technique a long time ago. It really makes the stones pop. Here's the finished painting. The video was getting so long that I decided to finish this painting off camera. We're going to compare this painting with, of course, artificial intelligence. I've named him Artie. So it's this painting that I did up against Artie, and we're going to see what his painting looks like. In a couple days, Andrew's going to come by. We're going to sit in front of the camera and compare the two.
2 days later.
This is my painting, and I'm going to admit I struggled on this. I did a lot of my different techniques, getting the sky, the rocks, things like that.
And I've already seen Artie's version of this painting, and I can tell you right now that this one is much better than his. I think that's a home run right there, Steve.
Well, good. Thank you, Andrew. And I'm going to say something rather sad. I have a good friend, and we were talking. We were over a beer, and I told him about this whole process here that I'm competing against artificial intelligence, ARTI for short. And he said, you know, Steve, I bet you put your heart and soul into this. And I said, you know, I did. And then I thought, I have a soul, I have a heart. I know where I'm going when I die. Artie doesn't. That's very sad, but it's also very scary. So there's my product. Hopefully you can decide. We're going to display Artie right now.
A few moments later.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Steve, are you ready?
Yes, drum roll. Here we go.
Here we go. There we have it.
Well, that's very interesting. That I can tell just by looking at it that that's a watercolor, and I could tell oil. I can tell pastel. So all these shadings in here, these little white spots right here, that's watercolor. So he did a good job. Now Andrew did use plural when he said mountains. I only did one mountain, so I hope Artie doesn't take umbrage at that. We'll see, but let's just leave it up to people out there to decide. I'm going to be uploading a video on how I progressed with this painting, and in the comments section you might want to say who you thought is best, but that's up to them. So yeah, this has been a challenge. It's been fun, and Andrew, I thank you.
Yep, and my comment is going to be for you, Steve. So anybody who's watching the video, leave a comment to either Steve or Artie. I'll add them up at the end. We'll see who wins.
Okay, this will be fun.